Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem, I request you to kindly join. Namaskar, Excellency, Lady Gandhi National Center for Arts and Wisdom Tree. I welcome you to the launch of the book, Connecting Through Culture, Government of India, as our chief guest. Our guest of honor is Shri Arif Mohammed Khan, Honorable Governor of Kerala. We also have with us on the stage the editors of the book, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, President ICCR, and Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, Member Secretary IGNCA. The publisher, Shri Shobhit Arya of Wisdom Tree, and Shri Kumar Tumen, Director General of ICCR. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं संस्कृति के माध्यम से जुड़ने की, और हमारी संस्कृति में गुरु का स्थान सर्वोपरि है। इसीलिए भारत की सॉफ्ट पावर पर पुस्तक के विमोचन का दिन भी बड़ी सोच समझ के साथ गुरु पूर्णिमा के दिन रखा गया है। Transmitted in the oral tradition, in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Hence the importance of Guru in our culture, who takes precedence over God, as it is he or she, as the case may be, who shows us the path to reach the Almighty. And so, on the occasion of Guru Purnima, we begin with Guru Vai Charano mein de do Thikana mujhe main bhatakta hu raah dikhana mujhe charano लोग से मैं परेशान हूँ इस समंदर में अब
Dr. S. Jaishankar, Shri Arif Mohammed Khan, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, Shri Kumar Tumen, distinguished guests and friends, which is like a living and breathing example of what it stands for. Connecting through culture in that sense is not just a one-of-its-kind distinctive book, which it is. It actually goes beyond and really lives up to its name.
Mr. Dr. S. Jaishankar, our guest of honor, Honorable Governor of Kerala, Shri Arif Mohammed Khan Sahab, my co-editor, Dr. Sachidanand Joshi ji, publisher Shobhit Arya, DJ ICCR, Shri Kumar Tumen ji, Excellencies, dignitaries, many from the world of arts and culture, guests, ladies and gentlemen. सभी को गुरु पूर्णिमा की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं, सभी गुरुओं को वंदन करता हूं। आज का दिन महात्मा गौतम बुद्ध के जीवन का भी एक महत्वपूर्ण दिवस है। आज आषाढ़ पूर्णिमा है और इसलिए गौतम बुद्ध को भी प्रणाम करते हुए मैं आगे बढ़ता हूं। Friends, world over, soft power and cultural relations are acquiring some kind of centrality in the global discourse. Culture is something that shapes soft power, and India's culture has, since times immemorial, played a key role in connecting India with the outer world. The very vibrancy and the colorfulness of Indian culture attracts the entire global community, it is thanks to this attractiveness of Indian culture, the colorfulness of Indian culture, that India and Indians have earned a huge amount of goodwill in almost every nook and corner of the globe. Different aspects of India's soft power. As we all know, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world as one family, is the doctrinal destination of our cultural relations. And this philosophy of our culture has, to me as a student of culture, the Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, which everybody knows. Secondly, our idea of diversity as manifestation of our innate unity. Thirdly, our idea of Antyodaya, which is our own way of moving ahead, grateful to Mother Nature without harboring any notion of conquering nature. All these points form the foundation of characteristic genius of Indian thinking, of Indian mind, and it is this characteristic thinking which is manifested in multiple ways through our epics, through our dances, through our classical music, through our traditions which are cultivated by majorly our village artisans as well, through our food, through our architecture, and also through the way we practice our democracy.
ICCR and co-editor of this anthology, Dr. Vanessa Kutube, DTICCR, Sri Kumar Kubi, publisher of this book, Sri Shobhitarya, Excellencies, all contributors of this book, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's like a dream come true today. It has been more than 2 years when Vinayji shared this idea with me, and I was surprised and wondered of all the persons available in the world, why he chose me to share this idea. Coincidentally, I was also thinking on the same lines, and our wavelength matched. So much so that in later course we realized that we think almost on the same lines whenever we discuss any issue related to this anthology. Time out from their busy schedule to make it to this function. This introduction is in the serial order as the articles appear in the book, so please do not mistake in thinking that I am introducing them in any order of seniority. But first of all, let us remember the contribution of Dr. Ashish Ganju and Srimati Alka Raghuvanshi, whom we lost in past 2 years, who contributed in this anthology and always encouraged us. From the Lucknow University, and is the author of Text and Context, Iran and Contemporary Challenges. He writes regularly in different newspapers and magazines. Shri Hindu Singh Gupta is an award-winning author of 9 books published around the world. He won the Wilbur Award in 2018 for being Hindu, understanding a peaceful path in a violent world. He won PSF Prize for Public Service in India in 2015. He is a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader. He has been Senior Fellow at the Center for Civil Society and the Observer Research Foundation. Shri Khan and Shri Sir Gupta have jointly written the first chapter of this book, Indian Soft Power in Material and Spirit. And we all know Amish is famous for his Shiva trilogy. Arjana Sharma is Professor, Department of English, University of Delhi. She has written and edited several books, including the autobiography of Desire. Anjana and Amish have contributed the article Typical Traditions of India. Madhu Khanna earned her PhD in Indic Religious Studies from the Oxford University, was former director of the Center for the Studies of Comparative Religions and Civilizations in Jamia Millia. Governor Shri Arif Mohammed Khanji, Dr. Vanessa Kutube, Dr. Satchidanand Joshi, Sri Pradeep Kumar, publisher,
great to be on your day. My dear friends, dignitaries, excellencies, contributors, it's really a pleasure to join you all this evening. Soft power, which is about connecting through culture. And perhaps it's an appropriate occasion for us really to reflect on the importance of soft power and where it fits into the larger scheme of things in respect of India. So, a moment of reflection maybe on what do we mean by soft power. I think it's generally believed it's something which is intangible, which confers legitimacy, which has some sort of ethical connotation most of the time. Fusion of various types, fusion of ideas, fusion of habits, fusion of activities. So it is really, even the iconic figures that it refers to, the overall message you really get from this book is of acceptance and of likability. In the business of diplomacy, I would say this is a good cop book. This is the nice arguments you give, really why others should work more with India, why they should engage India much more deeper. But reality is very tough, and you don't, I think good cops are one part of the spectrum. So even in soft power, it's important to understand that there is comfort at one end of the spectrum. Somewhere in the middle, that comfort becomes influence. And at the other end of the spectrum, there is actually domination. So, a lot of what countries do with soft power depends on the country, it depends on the situation of the country, the power of that country. So you can have soft power as a very smooth osmosis process where you are actually absorbing things without sometimes even realizing. Or you can have soft power as a very aggressive push, a kind of model, a way of life. And that is really the spectrum today with which the world deals with soft power. The rest of the world is conditioned to actually deal with those standards as a reference point, and it allows actually the standard setter to evaluate the rest of the world within a framework which they have created. When we talk about soft power, it is, as I said, largely this exercise of creating comfort. I think there is both a power explanation for it, but I think there is also a cultural, historical explanation. Where does soft power fit in the larger scheme of things? I regard it today, in fact, as absolutely central to the rebalancing which is going on in the world. A rebalancing which is already creating multipolarity. Typically, when we think of rebalancing the largest GDP, or we look at the military facet, we say, okay, these countries have nuclear weapons, or they have power production, or they have a veto in the UN Security Council. But rebalancing is something much more, because beyond in history, that there can be very powerful countries, but who have actually failed in the soft power front, and therefore met political reverses, which is not something which is that far back in history. So I see today culture, that connecting through culture, the comfort that is growing about India, I see that actually as very, very central to the rebalancing and something which works very much to India's advantage. It may be less effective, there may be more centers, but the fact is, today a large part of soft power is this setting of norms, standards, rules, even political rules. I mean, you have debates where some institution, some publication, sometimes some government, I feel you are short on 5 pounds. So this willingness, this desire, this actually clever tactic of passing judgments on others by using a frame of reference and a culture and a specificity and trying to make that universal. That is an enormous exercise of soft power if you can actually carry it out critically. And here, of course, in a globalized world, we accept it today as part of global politics, but at the end of the day, it is actually a very effective tool of diplomacy. It is also soft power helps to define and prioritize issues. What comes on.
Dr. S. Jaishankar, Honorable Union Minister for External Affairs, Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe, President ICCR, Shri Sachidanand Joshi, Member Secretary, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, Shri Shobhita Arya, Publisher, Shri Kumar Tuhin, Director General, ICCR, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, organized released book Connecting through Culture, an overview of India's soft power, edited jointly by Shri Vinay Sahasrabudhe and Shri Sachidanand Joshi, which is the first of its kind anthology of essays on India's soft power. The book discusses in detail different aspects of country's soft power strength. The book, I hope, shall initiate a nationwide or I should hope global discussion on India's soft power. My congratulations to Shri Vinay Sahasrabudhe and Shri Sachidanand Joshi for their remarkable work. Soft power is a term of recent coinage, but the concept is not new to India. Rather, it is deeply rooted in Indian cultural and civilizational ideals and ethos. It has been said, and said not recently, few thousand years back, Bharat se प्रतिष्ठित हुए संस्कृतम संस्कृति तथा. India's prestige or India's power depends on two factors. So India has attached always, in fact, it has been asserted by very well-known people that Indian society has never viewed the kings and generals as their ideal or models. The Indian society has always viewed thought leaders who were known as rishis, our sages, and even those who wielded power. They walked to their ashrams in the forest to seek their guidance. This is the foundational virtue of Indian culture, and we are talking about connecting through culture. Rabindranath Tagore, who say figures among 5 persons who have been described as a, what term you have used? Iconic figures. He said, I love India, not because I cultivate the idolatry of geography, not because I have had the chance to be born in her soil, but because she has saved through tumultuous times the living words which issued from the illuminated consciousness of her children. that her foundation is in mind, which with its diverse powers and confidence in those powers goes on all the time creating Swaraj for itself. Swaraj means an order, political, social, economic order, which is totally committed. I will come to the basis later. What they have said is that the whole world, the Russian civilization is known for its splendor. The Chinese civilization is known for its craftsmanship and obedience to law. Romans for their duty and chivalry. Is not its military strength or any other aggressive power. India has always been, even today we are talking about India aspiring for the role of Vishguru. What is Vishguru? Vishguru is not a title, is not a position, it is a role. And we feel that this role has been performed by India in the past. And now we are aspiring that we are able to revive that kind of situation. What is Vishguru? The Indian sages have Swamsam Charitram Shikshiram Prithviyam Sarvam Anava. A long time back, our sages had envisaged that India should have the knowledge power which is able to attract people from all over the world not to study Indian culture and civilization. But we should have the kind of teachers who are proficient, who have deep grip on other cultures, and people from other countries to know about their own culture, to study about their own civilization value, they travel to India. Basically, because this was a culture of knowledge and wisdom, they promoted knowledge and wisdom. Therefore, peace is needed. There is need to eliminate any chances of conflict. Therefore, India made, at the beginning of its civilizational journey, India made a proclamation of universal, eternal truth. Ekam sad vipra bahuda vadanti. The truth is one, but it is perceived as many. India always believed that all people should not be confined to one single interpretation of reality, and therefore we accepted diversity to us since ancient times. He said, we do not tolerate, you tolerate the antics of the child. We accept and respect every tradition. And he says when somebody talks of tolerance, it sounds like blasphemy to me. I have no right to tolerate anybody. Whatever path one chooses, I am duty bound to accept it and respect it. So when diversity has been attached so much significance and importance in Indian tradition, the human society also needs unity. We have praised that. In fact, we have recognized that diversity is not something which basically came. The human body must be considered as the temple of God. This sense of respect for everybody and anybody. But it does not, we can't, in the light of these teachings or this cultural heritage, we cannot ignore the other aspect also. That we are living in a world
And India has gone through that, where mere Shastra, when you are subjected to an aggression, when you face those who have evil designs, then you should not only have the fully equipped with knowledge and wisdom, the soft power, but on your back, you should be armed with weapons. These hesitation to say that in the period of decline, India ignored this aspect. And that is why we were subjected to many humiliations. And now, definitely, after independence, more so now, the leadership is fully aware. But our trust, India will remain India as long as our trust will be on the soft power, and to be more specific, to promote the tradition of knowledge and wisdom. And where only soft power was employed to throw out the colonial power. Satya, Ahimsa, and Satyagraha. And India became an example. And I would say, if you look around the world, we generally ignore some developments. In USA, in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, in USA, Martin Luther King, they all got their inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi. You can think that it has been possible for Mr. Obama to become the president of USA. And that movement was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. First time when I went to Indonesia, outside the palace, Indonesia, everybody knows, is a Muslim country, overwhelmingly Muslim country. Outside the palace, there is a huge statue of Krishna Arjun Sambhav. Outside the presidential palace, like our India belongs. So our ambassador in Indonesia told me, he said, ask any Indonesian, what is this? He was of our ambassador. I asked this question because we were strolling there, and I asked this question. And everybody said, yes, of course, Islam is our religion and this is our culture. Culture has nothing to do with your thinking if you deny it. But as the famous Western author has said, outliers, who you are, cannot be separated where you come from. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Greetings to the event and for addressing us. In his remarks, he spoke to us about the importance of soft power and where it fits in the overall scheme of things, and provided us guidance on the role that soft power, which is the good cop, in the good cop, bad cop equation of soft power and hard power, it can play in further enhancing India's impact globally and in implementation of our diplomacy. Thank you, sir.
Copy of the book courtesy to the publisher. At this point, I would like to request all the contributors of the book to kindly come on the stage for a group photograph after the
तुम्ही मध्ये या.
त्याची कॉपी मिळेल.
मनोज प्रेसिडेंटची ओळख
सबसे पहले आपके पास ज्ञान होना चाहिए, प्रज्ञा होनी चाहिए और उससे समस्याओं का समाधान होना चाहिए। लेकिन ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं जो दलील की शक्ति को नहीं मानते, शक्ति की दलील लागू करना चाहते हैं। उनके लिए आपके पास दूसरी ताकत भी होनी चाहिए।
बच्चे कहाँ के काल से बनाए हैं, इसका मुख्य आधार हमारी संस्कृति, हमारा सिद्धांतता, हमारी जीवन दृष्टि थी। और यही कारण है कि आज भी भारत को केवल एक देश नहीं माना जाता, मगर एक संस्कृति के संदर्भ में भारत का विचार होता है। Promotion of wisdom, and that can, through that we can overcome not many, almost every problem that we encounter. हाँ बिल्कुल। Thank you. चलिए।